So today's video, we're just doing a bit of a get ready with me while I talk about the Marilyn Monroe exhibit that I went on. 2 new pictures that I picked up while I was there. I also want to talk about TikTok gigs, and if we have time, we might talk about Trump. We'll see. So, you may not know this, but I am a huge Marilyn Monroe fan. I collect a lot of stuff with her on it, including even brushes. These ones, yeah, they have her signature on these brushes as well, and her name on the side. I've been a fan of Marilyn's for a really, really long time. I'm just going to do a simple look today. I'll make sure to mention, if I remember, what products I'm using. Oh, I've still got red on my lips. The cracks of my lips where I put red lipstick on yesterday. Oh well. I was always a fan previously because I always felt like she was the curvy girl paving the way. I'm just cleaning this mirror because I've got so much shit on it. I'm struggling to see my own face. There we go. I've got this Wet n Wild. I literally bought the whole Wet n Wild kit to buy this eyeshadow palette because Kathleen Lights talked about it. And then of course they brought this back out on its own. But hey ho, I got all the other Marilyn bits and pieces. I saw this exhibit in London and I don't know, I assumed it was someone from her estate that had approved for her collection of personal items to be, shown so that people who love and support Marilyn can see her things. Well, first of all, I didn't even know that she was in an orphanage. That was heartbreaking as it was. And then to find out how she was treated by men throughout her whole life, well, even from the age of 15, she was married just so basically she could get out of being in the orphanage or whatever, because they weren't treated great. I don't know to what extent. It didn't really go super in depth, and I imagine if she was still alive that she may have spoken about it, but that was a big surprise to me. In case you're wondering, these brushes and these ones, they're by Moda. I recommended them on Instagram ages ago. Then at the age of 15, like I say, she was married. That husband didn't want her to have a career and wanted her to be a housewife. So because of that, she divorced him. But there was obviously a lot of information, so apologies one if I get any round the wrong way or get any wrong. I can't remember when it was that she started dating the baseball player, but eventually she did get married to him as well. And when she got married to him, again, he was expecting she'd give up her career and just be a housewife, because in the 1940s, 1950s, that's what it was kind of expected, that the men would just be the breadwinner or whatever. But she was always pushing sort of gender roles. She was always pushing for equal pay. She paved the way for feminism to be as iconic and beautiful as she was, which also I didn't realize. Again, I know it's you're such a fake Marilyn Monroe fan, I would imagine people would probably say. I didn't realize she used to be a brunette. I genuinely thought she was maybe not a full-on white blonde naturally, obviously, but I didn't think she was a brunette naturally. And it's hard to tell from the photos if she was a deep brunette or a mousy brown brunette like I am. I already put SPF on, so I'm not going to be putting on primer. By the way, Rimmel, I just bought a bunch of Rimmel stuff, and oh my god, they are so underrated. I mentioned this in a video years ago, but I was like, oh, Rimmel foundations on YouTube are so underrated. Freaking, even to this day on TikTok, they're so underrated. I love their Thrill Seeker mascara. I love this new Kind and Free foundation. I used this yesterday and loved it. It reminds me of the Essence foundation that I love and adore, that I'm worried about running out of because it's discontinued. And it also reminds me of the Wet n Wild, what is it, skin tint. But anyway, going back to Marilyn. So they showed a bunch of her clothes and photos. Her will was there as well, which is kind of crazy. Scripts, the Some Like It Hot. That's the movie name, right? I haven't watched any of her movies. One of those things I keep meaning to do, but I never sit down and watch movies anymore, really. If I do, it's one that I've already seen. I don't watch a lot of new movies unless I'm going to the cinema these days. I need comfort films. But yeah, so when she was married to the baseball player, John something, I think, or Joe, I can't remember his name. He didn't want her going to Korea to sing for the troupe, but yeah, he didn't want her doing that. But yeah, she was always pushing for equal pay. One of the, I don't know if it was the male actor or the actress, was being paid $500,000 for the movie, and she was being paid $1,250 per week, which was actually up from $750 a week. I think that was on Gentlemen Like Blondes, if I remember rightly. You can use the Rimmel concealer. This is new. This is very matte, I will say. That's the only thing. So I'm trying to be really careful with how much I use, because I do think it'll be a little drying for me being 35, but I wanted to try it because I do hear good things about it. But yeah, when I was reading about her estate and her belongings, apparently they've been auctioned off so many times. Obviously the dress that she sung Happy Birthday Mr. President in, that was sold originally I think at Christie's for $1 million, and then again to Kim Kardashian for almost $5 million. I don't know, it just made me sad because I just thought, even in death, as much as I appreciated seeing her belongings, it was not from, like I expected, like from her estate where maybe the proceeds went to help women in shelters or something like that. It was someone who had, or a company, I don't know which, but someone who had saw her possessions as something to profit off of, which after she'd been taken advantage of so many times, like even when she went to her agent, he left his wife and kids to be with Marilyn, and Marilyn rejected him. The second time she turned him down was when he said, an old man, like I'm sick or something like that. Basically, like the few years I would be with you, you'd be a rich woman. And even then she turned him down. And like I say, like it would have been easy in those days to see why a woman would have felt like she had to marry someone rich and get the money to have freedom for herself, even though she was literally tying herself, obviously, to another man. She had so much courage that I think also gave a lot of other women courage themselves as well. And considering her second husband, the one that didn't want her to go to sing for the troops in Korea, he was abusive. He was being destructive in a hotel. Can't remember what the hotel was. I'm pretty sure it was in Hollywood or something. He was not a good guy. And to think that, the 2 times that she fell in love before the last person she fell in love with were people that took advantage of her and just wanted to like have her as a possession almost. It just made me sad. Her last fiance, I was worried where it was going because I was just like, so many people had taken advantage at that point. I was like, oh, do I even want her to have like had another fiance at this point? Because the way that she's been treated so many times. When she passed away, he said the sweetest thing. Instead of kissing you at the altar, I kissed you in your casket. Because she was meant to marry him like a week or something before she died. And they were saying that, her death was ruled a suicide. Even in the thing, they were like, the police said that they didn't have any proof that it was not a suicide. It was not as you would expect a suicide to be. So, like, I personally don't think she killed herself. I really don't. Especially as we've seen so many times in Hollywood, like, there are stars that speak out and then all of a sudden they die. And I don't think it's a coincidence. So I think there's like a Hollywood hitman. Don't know. But I think it's very fucking questionable. It would have been nice if someone had just stopped and asked what she wanted throughout her life. Like, they didn't talk about it at the thing. As soon as we got to the part where, it showed the newspapers of, like, Marilyn's dead. Like I say, they were talking about, like, the police deeming it a suicide, but even them not believing it. When I got to that part, I don't know, it just made me sad. Like, even sadder than it already had, because it just made me feel icky. Like, the fact that her, like, dressing table with drugs on it was there in a showcase felt icky. I'm using a mixture of this Laura Geller blush and the Marilyn highlighter in peachy pink. I thought I'd mix these two together for a blush. Not sure how well this is going to work. I might have ridiculous cheeks, but we'll see. I did mention to my mum, like, when we were going around looking at the things, it was an eyeliner or a lip liner. I think it was an eyeliner. And I said, like, you can tell that's real because it's mouldy. I was like, that's what would happen to old makeup. That's genuine. Oh, the fact that I completely even forgot to write. There's so much information. But there was this part where there was a singer who needed a, like, break sort of thing. I'm going to read the thing actually because I don't want to do a disjustice of the actual story. Marilyn was committed to supporting minorities. She spoke out on behalf of her music idol, Ella Fitzgerald, the African-American jazz singer, and helped her secure engagements at the nightclub Macambo. I think that's right. Which typically reserved bookings white artists only. Marilyn promised the owner that if he scheduled Fitzgerald, she would sit in the front row every night, and he agreed. Marilyn's active influence was instrumental in the international success of the singer. Above all, it sent a clear signal against racism and social oppression in the racial segregated 1950s. Ella later says, I owe Marilyn a lot. She was an extraordinary woman and ahead of her time. And there was other times where, she was asked about sex between two men or something. I think the quote said, like, sex is always right if there's love in it or something like that. I just think she was such an amazing person, and the fact that she stood up for women, people with the LGBTQIA plus community, people of different ethnicities, when there's literally segregation going on. The 1950s, like, you think about it nowadays, talking about these sort of topics, even now there is pushback. Think about how hard that would have been in the 1950s. The fact that she did not and would not be quiet about it. Probably one of the things that got her targeted if she didn't commit suicide. I was also showing my mum the chart of where her grave is next to Hugh Hefner. And I said to her, I was like, well, firstly, I'm pretty sure she didn't want to be buried next to Hugh Hefner. So that's gross. Secondly, the person who is above her asked to be facing downwards in his coffin so that he would always be facing Marilyn.
Now, Richard Poncher was a successful businessman from Los Angeles who had a very unhealthy obsession with Marilyn Monroe, and he ended up purchasing the crypt above Marilyn. Now, supposedly, she paid off a couple of cemetery workers to make this happen.
Like, how fucking disgusting. This is not even including the fact that her body went missing for like, I can't remember if it was 3 hours, 6 hours, like it shouldn't have even been like 20 minutes, but it was. It went missing for hours after her death. So like literally even in death she could not be respected. And then I was also showing my mum the discoloration of Hugh Hefner and Marilyn's gravestones. And I said that the reason that Hugh's and Marilyn's are sort of like pinky almost compared to the others is because of how many times those gravestones have been kissed with red lipstick and have literally now, even after cleaning, have now stained them. It's just, like I say, it just makes me sad. She wanted the spotlight because she didn't have it when she was a kid. You know, she didn't feel that love that, not to say that obviously everybody in Hollywood goes into it for the same thing. I'm not saying that, but I truly do think that she just wanted the love and attention that she probably didn't get when she was a kid. Anyway, moving on. I wanted to talk about just quickly while I did my eyeliner. Music that has gotten popular on TikTok. And I don't mean like things used as sounds, I mean actual bands that have gotten popular because of a song blew up on TikTok. I went to a gig this week. I went to see this band, Catch Your Breath. They had one song I really, really loved, so I wanted to go see them. It wasn't particularly expensive, but so I thought, hey, I'll support the band and I will buy a ticket. Well, that was one of the worst audiences I think I've ever fucking met in my life. Not the band, I'm not blaming the band, I'm blaming TikTok audiences. They don't know how to be at gigs. They got no clue. And this is not the first time I've heard this, by the way. I've heard other people say, like, since COVID, people have been getting into the metal scene, or like the rock scene, and like because they've never been to metal gigs or never been brought up with metal music, they just genuinely don't know how to fucking act. This is how it felt. And by the way, like, Catch Your Breath aren't like heavy metal. They're like rock music, but they're not heavy metal. I expected similar to, in a way, Jimmy World, but slightly heavier, where people were singing along and dancing and probably jumping and stuff. But I didn't expect mosh pit, to be honest. Not only did I get full-on mosh pit, but this mosh pit was aggressive. Normally the mosh pit will go out a bit and then they'll circle around in the pit and they'll like push each other and stuff, but they'll mostly stay in the pit. This pit got its circle and then kept pushing people, even though people were already circling it or like pushing each other and stuff. They were really, really aggressive. It wasn't fun aggressive, it just felt aggressive. Oh, also, this place wasn't big. This was Islington, which houses maybe like 800 or like 1,000 people or something. I always find that annoying, to be honest. It's like standing like sardines anyway. Oh god, that reminds me as well. The people who are main character syndrome need to get their fucking shit together. There was 2 girls that did this to me and my mate. The first band go on, called Of Virtue. Really good band. Really enjoyed them. Said hello to the guitarist on my way out and gave him a high five because I thought they did awesome. But before the pit opened, this girl stands directly in front of my mate and is almost on top of her, to the point where she was literally holding her drink and had to do that because the girl was so on top of her. There was a fucking gap in front of me that you could have had a nice bit of berth. Nothing. She stood directly in front of my mate and like blocked the fucking view for her. I was just like, what is wrong with people? And then before the second band come on, a girl who was like 5'8", 5'9", easy, came from behind me where she could clearly see, because I'm only 5'2", like loads of space between me and her, comes directly between me and this girl in front, because I'd left a little bit of a gap so that hopefully, because the girl in front was taller than me, so I thought hopefully I can still see with this bit of gap. No, she chooses that moment to get directly in front of me and block the view. And there was also these 2 girls that were with, I think, a parent or something, and they couldn't see almost the whole entire gig because, again, everyone kept trying to stand in front of them. The girl that was in front of me that I was leaving a bit of space before that blonde got in front of me, she was constantly jumping and like moving backwards and like leaning back to film and stuff, really not allowing for the fact there was people directly behind her, because like I say, we were all packed in there like fucking sardines. Oh, it was just like, it wasn't nice at all. There's a reason why I normally do seated at gigs and not standing, because I just can't stand people like that. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely rock gigs that I still go to. Like, I went to Self Deception in March and that was at the Underworld. Similar sort of style gig, slightly smaller. Do you know what happened? There was a girl and her boyfriend who wanted to stand a bit forward. They realised I would have been behind them and offered for me to go in front. That's all it fucking takes. If you realise someone short is behind you, just offer for them to go in front. If they don't want to go in front, then that's their deal, you know? Don't be a dick. You are not the only person there. And I hate when people are like, oh, but they paid for a ticket too. Yeah, but if they could already see, and they're literally causing me not to be able to see, that then negates my fucking ticket. There was literally one point where Catch Your Breath were on, and I physically couldn't see. There was 3 taller people. There was the girl, like I say, that was leaving a gap for her boyfriend that was even taller than her and is blonde, and the blonde girl got in between their 2 heads. So it was just 1, 2, 3 heads, and I couldn't see fucking anything. Oh, it drove me nuts. Oh, also, when the second band came on, I forgot to mention, they immediately got a dislike from me. They were trying to be funny or something and shouted chicken jockey. The Minecraft thing where everyone's going mental. So everyone chucked all their drinks, didn't they? I wish they'd chucked them at the band, to be honest, because that's what they fucking deserved. I have this Marilyn Monroe, it's got like glitter on the lipstick bullet. I've had this for ages. There was shorter girls that were next to me and their mum, plus another couple of girls that were next to them, got literally like a face full of beer. It was, that made immediately just piss me off. I'm not gonna lie, because I couldn't see much, I didn't film very much of the gig. I was just so aware of the pit just constantly getting bigger and bigger. It was annoying. It's sad because I feel bad for those girls because they probably had a shit experience because the only thing they can really think or remember is those guys making it shit. Tall people in front, making it impossible to see. The people who were pushing or throwing drinks. I will never understand that. How are you throwing almost like half a cup of beer in this economy? It's expensive. I don't even know how much I was charged for 2 large lemonades for me and my mate. I didn't look, complete side note, but I just bought Newfound Glory tickets for October for around me on my birthday. And I was like, this would be really fun. And because it's Brixton, so it's a slanted standing, I was like, oh, I could do stand. It could actually be fun that time. And then I realised, no, it probably wouldn't be, would it? Because I'd probably still get arseholes like that. So I'll just do seated just to be safe. We didn't get into the whole Trump thing. The only thing I will say while I block is you guys had the Second Amendment for a reason. I thought this might be the reason. I'm just going to include this clip to give context.
I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you like it. I'm probably going to do one of these videos maybe once a month because I quite like to sit down and just talk about recent experiences or news coverage depending on shit's going on at the time. It's only been a couple of months. It's not even been 6 months. Not even close, you know? And so much has happened. I will say I'm quite enjoying China showing that everyone's just been overpaying. Well, not that we already didn't know that, but everything that they say is like made in different countries isn't actually. It's like the leather comes from, for example, Italy, but then the handbags are actually still made in China.
Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China.
Want to know who's the Chinese factory behind Nike, Adidas, Fila, and UGG?
I've just been really enjoying China showing up America. Like, I have American friends. This is not me trying to shit on them. It's shitting on Trump, which they will understand. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you like it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!